Welcome to The Fight on Matrix Midwest with Randy Carricker and company.
Hi kids, welcome to the program. Great to have you with us. That is Andrew and I'm Randy, and we're excited about spring training, aren't we?
Oh yeah, guess who's back?
Oh, we're going to talk about that during the course of the show. We're also going to talk a little bit about a new look MLBPA, not by their choice, and our list is going to be the greatest USA gear ever. But let's get started with our quick hits. And it's been mentioned that the Cardinals have had a Hall of Famer every year since the early 1900s, and that they won't have a clear Hall of Famer this year, but they will. It's not a player, though. It's switch pitcher Jurangelo Sainz's glove. He told First Alert 4's Tamar Scher about it.
Already, asked me if I wanna, be able to, to put my glove in the Hall of Fame. They asked me at the Futures game, and then it got actually official when my agent, they called me and they were like, okay, so they about to send you this paper, you got to sign all these things, you got to put your glove in the box and all that, and you got to ship it to them. So I was with my girlfriend. I was like, that's pretty awesome.
How about that? They've got a Hall of Famer. It just happens to be a glove.
Do you think Pat Venditti is happy about this?
Probably not.
Why
no.
wasn't he asked first?
Maybe his glove wasn't as cool.
Maybe he is in the Hall of Fame too, and they're just putting every switch pitcher, they're at least material in the Hall of Fame.
And the Mariners were going to make him concentrate on pitching right-handed. He wants to use both arms. He's capable of it. I like the Cardinals' open-mindedness about letting him at least give it a try and see if he can be effective from both sides.
Yeah, I like that too. Plus, he's been doing this his entire life. Why try to just isolate him and put him down just one tunnel and say, this is who you're going to be now? Let him favor an arm. I'm good with that. The Mariners said, let's favor the right arm, but they were also going to take away the left arm pretty much completely. When the Cardinals made the deal and when we talked to Rob Cerfolio, he said, no, we're open to everything, and that's the right way to attack this.
And I know a lot of people say, well, he doesn't throw as hard left-handed, and I know we are a velocity enamored baseball culture now, but you can still be a left-handed junk baller and get people out. And it's not really junk, but he just doesn't throw as hard from the left side, but he can still get people out.
Yeah, if you have one pitch, if you have a fastball, then yeah, you shouldn't probably just throw from the left side. But if you have a curveball, a slider, or what have you with that hand too, yeah, you can be pretty nasty.
Padres third baseman Manny Machado was asked what he thinks of all of the Dodgers spending to win the last two World Championships.
In the same division, what the Dodgers are doing to spend that kind of money, or are you kind of used to it by now?
I fucking love it. I love it. I mean, honestly, I think every team should be doing it. They figured out a way to do it, and great for the game, honestly. So I think every team has the ability to do it. I hope all 30 teams could learn from that.
All right, Randy Carricker, would like to take the deep dive with Manny to find out how he thinks every team has the ability to have a $400 million payroll and have 7 players making more than $27 million a year. Just doesn't seem reasonable to think that the Brewers or the Twins or the Royals would be able to pull off those sorts of contracts.
Here's the thing, Manny, everybody can compete, right? If you have a salary cap, if you have a salary floor, but you know what that requires? It requires you not making $400 million. It requires you making maybe $200 million. And now there are a lot of players on your team that also share the same dollar amount per year that you are playing for. That's the only reason or the only way that you can viably say, hey, every team can do this.
I am dismayed by how uninformed players are, because fans know more, and the players make themselves look stupid in a situation like this. And I just wish that somebody would be the adult in the room and go say, hey, you know what? Don't say that Kansas City can do the same things that the Dodgers are doing. They can't. Let's be reasonable about this and say, hey, we like what the Dodgers are doing, and we'd love to be part of that, and we don't want to cap because of what the Dodgers are doing, but don't go out and say everybody can do it.
Well, maybe he thinks he's going back to the Dodgers, and that's why he's happy about siding with the Dodgers in all senses of the word.
Yeah, well, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think he's going back.
So.
He's probably pretty stuck there.
Yeah. The USA and Canada men's hockey teams are on a collision course at the Olympics in Milan. Both play Wednesday in quarterfinal action. Do these Olympics, on the heels of the Four Nations face-off last year, tell us who's the best in the world? We know that it's one of these two teams, or do we need a series of games between the U.S. and Canada to find out once and for all right now who the best is?
I think a series of games would be awesome.
Best of 7.
I really think that would be incredible. I don't know if that would be to USA's benefit, though. I think Canada would win a 7-game series. I think Team USA could win the only one that they play this season. And I really believe it's Team USA's year. They're playing with a lot of vengeance, a lot of, hey, I'm really upset with how we kind of talk about this throughout the season with my own NHL mates. We're going to take it now to the Olympic stage and really show you that USA is back and better than ever.
I think Canada could put together 2 rosters that are better, but in terms of just one roster, player for player, 1 to 20, I think the USA is every bit as good as Canada, and I think they could beat Canada in a 7-game series, and I would like to see it for one. I don't think that Finland or Sweden or Czechia, I don't think any of those could win a 7-game series against one of these two teams. I think these two are clearly the two that are better than everybody else. And at some point, maybe next year, get these two together. If you're going to shut down hockey for a while, do it for 14 days and let these two determine who's the best.
Yeah, you get the 1As on Team Canada, the Nathan McKinnons, the Connor McDavids, I think the Jordan Binningtons as well. And I think you get like the 1A.1s on Team USA, guys that could be the best in the world. They just aren't yet, and that's why I give Canada the edge there.
But in hockey, you want grit, and there's no doubt that the USA has much more grit and
100%.
toughness than Canada does.
They should be able to fight more. I'm still mad that the Olympic Committee is against all this fighting.
4 nations you could fight. That's what we need. We need North American hockey. Baseball viewing for 2006 will look different. The strike zone box, shown almost universally on every local and national MLB broadcast, will no longer be able to indicate whether a pitch is a ball or a strike. The strike zone box can still be used, but it'll be on viewers to guess as to whether or not the pitch was a ball or a strike. And now that was obviously a strike. But for pitches that are taken in the zone, you have to make that. See, you really do have to watch the pitch.
Yeah, you're going to be Angel Hernandez at home. I think if you're going to get rid of the placement of the baseball, though, wherever it crosses the plate, I think you should just get rid of the box altogether. I don't think you should just go halvesies here. It's not like the first down marker to me in the NFL. I think this is more, hey, you go all in or you just go all out.
But you can still see where the ball goes through. You just don't have a graphic for it. So I have no problem with that. I can see where it's going through the zone or not.
Just take it away. We don't need it. If we're going to guess anyway, let's just guess completely. Let's blindly guess at home.
Yeah, no, you don't have to guess. You're not. If you're paying attention, you get to see the ball go through the strike zone and where it's caught.
But Randy, we know Major League Baseball fans don't pay attention. How many people are at a ballpark and are on their phone and could get hit by any fly ball at any point in time?
But this is why they should still have the box. And they're doing it, by the way, because it's going to interfere with their ABS system. They don't want people cheating. That would never happen in baseball. By telling a player, challenge. But I don't think we have to worry about that.
Maybe we change tape delay then. You only get 3 seconds after the pitch to challenge.
How about a baseball player just having a good eye at the plate? How about that concept?
Yeah, why don't we just swing at everything?
Yeah, well, we kind of do. Former International Olympics Committee President Jacques Rogge once said, quote, a true champion respects the rules and competes with integrity, unquote. But that ideal has already been tested at the 2026 games with Canada facing cheating accusations in curling. They've double touched, of all things, questionable penalties on the women's side, and a controversial ice dance result that sparked claims of national bias in judging. Oh my goodness, all raising the same question. Are these games being decided by performance or by politics and perception? This has been the story in the Olympics for the last 3 or 4 Olympics, and it is what it is. What stands out is that you do have clear, because you have video, incontrovertible evidence that the Canada women did double touch, and you just can't do that. And they're saying, no, we didn't. Come on. We see it. Can see it on video.
And you see it in slow motion. You don't just see it on video. You see it up close and in slow motion. Look, I'll tell you what, Canada, and I'll tell you what, France, you're lucky that I don't really understand what goes into curling or what goes into figure skating. But what I do understand is what I read on ESPN.com or The Athletic or wherever you're getting your information, because I'm seeing how people that know the sport are telling everybody across the world how things are being done, and the Olympics are going to be under scrutiny for a while unless you make proper changes.
Well, I don't think they need to make proper changes because the controversy draws me in. It makes me more interested in watching the ice dancing or the ice skating or the curling. And I won't remember in a week who won anyway. I don't care if they cheat or not to win. It's not going to make any difference in my life.
Unless it's Team USA.
Yeah, right, but we don't cheat.
That is true. USA plays with integrity. The figure skating thing is really interesting to me. The French judge favoring the French team. If you haven't read much into it, go ahead and do a deep dive on that today.
It's happened forever. And
it's the same guy, though. He's
right.
the issue.
I know, it's great.
I think it's a guy.
Those are your quick hits here in the fight. And later in the show, we're going to have a little risky business. We're going to put together a parlay for you that I think we're going to come home for a winner with. But coming up, can the Cardinals expect from Yadier Molina's presence in spring training and a big change in the Major League Baseball Players Association? That's coming up here in the fight. We're getting some great warm weather here in the metro area, and before you know it, walking and golfing and cycling season will be here. If you've been told that you're eventually going to need a joint replacement, a hip or a knee, the doctors and nurses at St. Luke's are ready to help you out. They have state-of-the-art equipment, including the T-Mini device, a miniature robot knee arthroplasty procedure. The T-Mini is state-of-the-art, handheld, wireless robotic system that empowers a surgeon with exceptional precision for implant placement. We're in mid-February now. Have your knees done, and in the next month, you can get it taken care of, and then you can be doing outside activities by late spring or summer. The rehab is quick, and the St. Luke's people will take care of you through the entire process, from diagnosis to recommendation to surgery, and they're wonderful rehab people. If you need joint replacement, hips or knees or even shoulders, head to St. Luke's. Learn more by calling 314-205-6060 or go to stlukes-stl.com. Yadier Molina arrived in Cardinal camp Monday and immediately took all of the catchers out to the field. There he is with all of the catchers for a tutoring session. It really is remarkable to see all of the Cardinal catchers and the youngsters that are just glomming on to Yadier Molina.
Ah, gosh, I just love it. I love seeing him back on the field with this team, and I love what these players get to receive from a guy like him. As a player, you chase being around greatness. You want to be surrounding yourself with the best to be the best, and Yadier Molina is that in the sport, and he's the perfect person to have in the building today, Randy, with this young group.
Here's Tamar Scher with more from Jupiter.
The first official full squad workout here in Jupiter, Florida, complete with the ultimate veteran presence. Legendary Cardinal and future Hall of Fame catcher Yadier Molina has reported to Cardinals spring training, and so has the Wizard. Ozzie Smith telling me today that there's no doubt it's special and important seeing former Cardinals support the next wave of talent.
It's been awesome. First day here, and I can see the facility and to be around the players, coaches, and people that I haven't seen for a long time. It's great. It's great to be back. It's a great honor to be back as a coach now. I'm working with the young guys, so I'm excited about it.
Guys that have been a part of building this organization and the success that this organization has had should, in some shape, form, or fashion, be a part of the process of teaching young kids what it takes to be a big leaguer. And so it's nice when you walk in and you see a Yadier Molina, because he's been such a big part of it. And it's nice for me to be able to come and see players like that who of his stature, who are willing to put forth the effort to make this a better place for all of us.
Ozzie Smith was able to present Cardinals shortstop Mason Wynn with his very first Gold Glove, and perhaps Wynn is primed for an even bigger breakout year this season.
All right, thank you, Tamar. And so you look at what Yadier is going to do. He's going to obviously work with the catchers, but aside from that, what's manager Ali Marmol's plan for utilizing Yadi?
The plan is to have him around as much as possible. That's my number one plan. And he's more than open to that. So I know he has to travel to the WBC and he has other responsibilities, but when that's not the case, he's going to be with us as much as possible. And there's no one area, obviously, it's easy to just say work with the catchers, and that's what he's passionate about. But he's passionate about instructing in all areas of the game, and that's what I want him to have his eye open to, is just seeing areas of improvement, being able to talk to players and instill the just competitive nature and courage that he played with, and the attention to detail. Like, that's one of the things we talked about today as a club. It's just being obsessed with the small details of the game, and that's something he did extremely well. So having him around and speaking into all areas is my hope.
Now, I don't know if you can instill a competitive nature in somebody, but if he can do that, then have him go to every single player, because I think that's one of the things that can set you apart in Major League Baseball now, especially with a young team. If you have a group of highly competitive young players that pay attention to detail, I think you've really got something.
Yeah, I don't know if you can either. And you would hope that if you are in the system, if you are a borderline Major League Baseball player, that you do have competition running through your blood. But I think what Yadi does here, though, is you can go up to a guy like Jimmy Crooks, who is a psychopath when it comes to preparation. He's somebody that left hanging out with Michael McGreevy last year once he found out he was going to get the start, so that he could go home and prep and be the type of person he needs to be for his starting pitcher. And so you can go to a player like that and say, hey, here's how you can do that even better. You're already 10 steps in front. You're playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers. But let me tell you how to be the savant of this game so that you can be that superstar.
And one of the things about baseball now is that from the age of 5 or 6, players are getting individualized training, and they aren't playing as many games, and they're involved in showcases. That's how players are scouted. They aren't scouted on actually winning baseball games. So that's what I think that Yadi can be a real benefit to the Cardinals with, is saying, okay, it's great to have your individual skills. You need to hone those and be as good as you could possibly can. But you also need to be able to back pick. If you're a catcher, that runner at first base, you need to be able to hit the cutoff man. You need to be able to bunt a runner over. Yes, Yadi even did that during his career. I think that teaching winning to players is something that doesn't happen enough by the time they get to the majors, and that's something that Yadi can help with.
And I think one other thing that we don't talk enough about with Yadier Molina, because we all know about the great things that he did, but it was staying on the field. Yadi is somebody that always played. Just go back and look at
his basketball team was in the finals.
Right. Just go back and look at the stats. For 15 years, he played over 100 games. That's so unheard of when it comes to catchers. So even being able to point out who that guy is for the Cardinals that can last playing catcher and also being a productive hitter, that's why I think Ivan Herrera in the unique position he's in this season. I'll trust what Yadi says about him. If he thinks he can last, I'll buy in that Ivan Herrera can last back.
So back to Ali, what's it like for a young player like Weatherholt or Liam Doyle to have an Ozzie or a Yadi in camp?
That's the advantage we have over a lot of other clubs, is a rich history, and then the willingness of those guys that made a name for themselves in St. Louis to come back and speak into the culture moving forward. And it's one thing Chaim and I have spent actually a lot of time this offseason on, and I'll kind of give you guys here in the next few days our game plan, but our hope is to have several guys that haven't been in camp in a while back in camp, and start to normalize that as well. So yes, Yadi's one of them for sure that we're excited about. Waino will be another one that we bring back, and there's several others that haven't been around that I think could be impactful for these young guys.
Okay, first thing, I know you're thinking Albert Pujols, but the Cardinals are respectful of his personal services contract with the Angels. Artie Moreno, the Angels owner, doesn't want Albert working for another team. So probably not Albert Pujols, but David Freese,
right?
He's certainly a possibility. Waino would be perfect. Chris Carpenter already works for the Angels, but Matt Carpenter,
I think
certainly
is a great option.
Possibility. Mark McGwire works for the A's now. But maybe a David Eckstein, maybe an Edgar Renteria for the young Latin players?
You know what? I love that you kept going young with these players. The group that was apart from, say, 2006, 2011, 2013, and so forth. Over the last 20 years, it's bringing those guys back. You already did that with Jay. You already did that with Descalzo. I'm not saying you go out and hunt Colton Wong, because, as we know, Colton Wong's somebody that likes to go with more like high school kids or younger kids versus the major leaguers. But there are so many young players that you can pair with younger-ish retirees and say, hey, you're not that far beyond from where you once were. And those are the type of people that you need to listen to, the guys that were just there.
Hey, how about it? You haven't had Nolan Gorman play third base on a regular basis for a long time. How about bringing Scott Rowland into camp?
Would be awesome.
And have him work with a guy like Rowland and a guy like Jordan Walker. Jordan Walker and Scott Rowland have very similar offensive profiles. styles, in terms of their swing plane, I think Roland would be a great advantage for a young right-handed hitter like Jordan Walker or a young right-handed hitter like Ivan Herrera.
I think it's a disservice not to just bring anybody back that wants to be back.
Any Cardinal Hall of Famer.
Right. You reach out to all of them and just let them decide. You know, you don't have to berate them and say like, oh, you know, you have to come back for this or that reason, but extend the invitation. Let them make that call to come back or not if they want to help this team. All you're doing by keeping your mouth shut is you already have a no. It's a no before you get even a yes because you didn't ask.
I don't think they need to bring back Dennis Reyes, the big sweat.
Bring them all back.
Major League Baseball Players Association Executive Director Tony Clark resigned on Tuesday, leaving the union without its longtime leader less than a year before the MLB's collective bargaining agreement expires. The resignation comes in the wake of the Eastern District of New York's ongoing investigation into the finances and other dealings of the MLBPA and Clark's possible self-enrichment from union businesses. There are a lot of tentacles to this. Obviously, Tony Clark having to deal with the feds is not something that he probably is looking forward to, but it's forced his resignation. Now, this is the guy, he was supposed to have a meeting on Tuesday with the Cleveland Guardians to start the process of educating the players about what's coming up with negotiations. He's not going to do that now. Bruce Meyer is the second in command right now. He's the lead negotiator. But he doesn't know the players. He's never played the game. He's a union guy. He's been a union negotiator. I think it was for, he worked previously with people that were digging ditches and stuff like that. But he's not a guy, he's worked with unions, not baseball players. So I think that baseball has a real problem on their hands, not the baseball MLB, but the MLBPA, because they need somebody with the personality and the knowledge to be able to rally the troops as they head toward a showdown with the CBA.
So who is that guy?
Well, for me, the first guy that came to mind was Scott Boras, because he knows, and Scott Boras basically runs the union anyway. He's the puppeteer. So if he really cares about baseball, and Scott Boras really cares about all of the players, and not just the guys that are going to make $200 or $300 million, he was a minor league player with the Cardinals. He knows what it's like to go through life as a player that doesn't make an awful lot of money. He's been doing it for a long time. If Scott Boras truly cares about all the players and not just the guys making a lot of money, he'll be the guy to go into clubhouses and explain to the players what needs to happen for the players to lead their best lives as major leaguers.
Now, let me ask you this, Randy. Because it's poor timing, right, for this to happen.
Yeah, it really
right?
is.
Really poor timing.
Never poor timing to be investigated by the feds, but yeah, right. Really bad for Tony Clark.
Really bad timing.
Yeah.
But from everything I've gathered with Tony Clark, he wasn't the brightest person in the room.
I don't think
is this a good thing for MLBPA or actually a bad thing?
I think the timing is bad. Overall, I don't think it is bad. When you have a guy that's basically stealing money from the union, alleged to have stolen money from the union through various and sundry mechanisms, that is a bad thing. And so having him out of there is a good thing. And I think there are some former players that are retired, and former Cardinal Andrew Miller, very bright. He's got a good personality. I think he'd be a good guy for a job like this if the players want a former player. If they want to put Bruce Meyer in place, I think he needs to learn more about the game and love the game a little bit more. But I think that they can find somebody like they have done now with the NFLPA that has a union background but also knows who the players are and appreciates the players. And I think ultimately that's what baseball needs to do. Whether it's a player or whether it's a union negotiator, they need to have ultimately somebody who loves the game and cares about the players.
Yeah,
and by the way, Scott Boras is all of those.
Right.
Now, he might not want to take the pay cut,
right.
But he's a lawyer, obviously cares about players and likes the sport.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing is if you're a player in baseball, you want somebody that just gets it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want somebody that understands the ins and outs of all of those conversations. And somebody that's probably been on the receiving end of more of those conversations, more than, say, just a union member like you're talking about. So that's why I vibe exactly with what you're saying there, because Scott Boras, not only does he care about the players, he also cares about his money.
Yeah,
and so he's going to want his money at the end of the day, and by keeping his money and keeping the players happy, it's the best of both worlds.
And Bruce Meyer, the deputy chief of the Players Association. He worked with minors, and he worked with real strong unions. But he said, my job is to be disliked. My job is to get the owners to hate me. And if you get the owners to hate you, then you're going to get a lot of the fans to hate you too. And I don't think you want that level of distaste in the mouths of fans when they're seeing that guy's face. It's kind of like when Don Fear ran the union. When you're seeing that guy's face on TV every day, I think that'll turn people off. And now there are so many other options aside from baseball that I think baseball is in a real precarious position if they get into a place where they aren't playing games.
And I think all of us are team MLBPA here in terms of get the right guy in the room so that negotiations go down properly, especially amid the lockout, and then figuring out how the players can still be the beneficiaries, not the owner.
Just make sure that I have my games and make sure that my team has a chance to compete. If you do that, I don't care. I'm good. All right, that is a look at spring training and Tony Clark. Coming up in the list, the greatest USA gear ever here in The Fight. All right, it is great to watch the Olympics, if for nothing else than all of the red, white, and blue, and sometimes other colors. So with that being the case, today's list is the best Team USA jerseys of all time, not necessarily in the Olympics. And Andrew, I'm going to get started with my number 3. And normally when you see the USA, it is red, white, and blue. But they take some liberties at the Ryder Cup. One year on Sunday, they wore red shirts, black caps, and black pants as an homage to Tiger Woods. So it was Sunday red for Tiger and everybody else. In 2010, day 1 of the Ryder Cup, they went with a lavender look at Celtic Manor. I loved this. I've liked a lot of the Ryder Cup gear over the years, but these vests and sweaters were my favorite look, even though I don't think I'd wear it myself. I love the shirts. I love the color of the vest. And yeah, we didn't win, but on day 1, we were really good. So you look good, play good, right? And they did in the 2010 Ryder Cup.
Yeah, that to me looks like, I don't know, a Harvard fraternity brother from way back in the day, right? You're wearing the sweater with the crest right over the heart. I will say this, I like it because of how unique it is. I am with you in terms of you would never catch me dead wearing that.
Yeah, I don't think that that's my look, but I thought the team looked really good in that.
Yeah, well, and it's just so different, right? Like that's, I think the whole thing here is.
And Tiger looks good in everything.
And the Ryder Cup is very professional, right? That is very much that old Harvard fraternity boy look. I'm not a visor guy. Sorry, Bubba. You won't see me in a visor. I would need that to be a cap. But it is cool because you don't see purple like that.
Yeah, so it was pretty good. I liked it.
Okay, my number 3. There have been a lot of gems, Randy, in USA hockey over the years. Even today's designs strike a great balance between honoring the past and looking modern. There have been a few, at least, that have missed the mark, like the 2014 Sochi jerseys with the soccer-style crest right on the heart of the jersey. But my number 3 all time is the 1990s look worn by the U.S. men's national ice hockey team. What makes it special is the simplicity paired with real uniqueness. It had that pure 90s flair, a strong red, white, and blue color scheme, a bold logo, the stars embedded on the sleeves, and a wave pattern along the bottom, which added personality without clutter, and the USA logo. That's what it always catches my attention. The flag flowing off the S, the star in the A, tied it all together. If I'm not mistaken, that logo is still the foundation of USA Hockey's look today, which says everything about how timeless the design really is.
Yeah, and when you have Hully and Big Walt, that makes it even better. Yeah, those were great-looking sweaters that they wore. And yeah, the Sochi look was not great, but these were nice.
Yeah, and I think a lot of USA sweaters are typically nice. You could have gotten away from 2014 by keeping it with that same design, carrying it over from the 90s, or even going all the way back in time to mirror, like I said, what we see today.
All right, I'm going to the 90s too. For my number 2, it's the blue jersey worn by the original Dream Team in 1992. You had Jordan, you had Bird, you had Magic, you had Barkley, you had your second group of Scottie Pippen and Clyde Drexler and David Robinson and John Stockton and Karl Malone with Chris Mullin and Christian Laettner there for depth. A pretty good team. And the blue jerseys now, I really liked the 2008 Redeem Team too. But the thing was, they have blue on the names on the back of the jerseys. These are white, and the white ones were great, but the white on the blue was really great, and the look was just great. So the blue on blue, no bueno. So I went with this one because of the white lettering on the names on the back. But I really like the blue better than the white that they wore in '92.
Yeah, and I like how the logos popped on the jerseys that you chose, whether it is the nameplate on the back or what's going across the chest. Now, something you said at the very beginning of the show is resonating with me right now. You had said, yeah, you know, Team Canada's second unit is probably a team that could go out there and compete for a gold medal. The names that you just rattled off there for the dream team, the second unit, would still be the best in the world.
Pippen, Drexler, David Robinson, Stockton, and Malone.
I mean, what are we talking about? That's the best thing about basketball is you only have to have 5 guys that could play an entirety of a game. But the fact that the U.S. could represent themselves that deep, there's no reason I mean, there's no way I'd want to go play for Team Italy or China or whatever if I was a native, because I'm just like, yeah, I'm good. The U.S. they're going to beat me by 30, 40 with that team.
Yeah, so those were some great jerseys that they wore, and the players made them look even better.
Yeah, and they look better than the other jerseys that we're seeing out there on the Olympic floor. Okay, my number 2, I love baseball. And my jersey choice here is tied forever to a play that replays in my head on loop. The 2017 World Baseball Classic quarterfinal. Manny Machado at the plate, Adam Jones in center field, and Jones makes one of the most unforgettable home run robberies any baseball fan can remember. The jersey only adds to the legend. It's the gray with the navy blue sleeves, the lone pop of white in the S of USA, the American flag on the sleeve. You had that sick US hat, or the US logo on the hat. It looks like the American flag threw up on those baseball players. And somehow, in the best way, it's inseparable from one of the Team USA's most iconic moments here on the baseball diamond. This catch by Adam Jones was insane.
Catch was great. Logo was great. You can never get me on board with a gray jersey.
Really?
No.
Oh, man. That's what I like about it.
SLU wears their gray. I don't like it. The Detroit Lions wear their gray. I'm not, and some people call it anthracite. Yeah, I'm just not into it.
Anthracite. That is the proper term. I love away baseball jerseys, though. So that's another reason why I like gray, because I would love the Cardinals whenever they would wear their grays on the road. So I love the mix of that. It's not everybody's fan favorite. I get that, because the blue and the gray doesn't really come together all that well. But look, I'm wearing gray sleeves right now with the black, and I kind of like the mix.
The lighter gray, you look at these are kind of like those horrible dark gray Diamondbacks jerseys. I like a lighter gray, like the normal Major League tone.
No shame in that. The numbers, though, in red, and then the S. The S just, you know that's Team USA if you saw it from miles away.
All right, my number 1, Andrew, we all remember the iconic USA jerseys that the 1980 hockey team wore to beat the Soviet Union on February 22nd, 1980. But do you remember what they wore in the gold medal game against Finland? Yes, another great-looking blue jersey with red shorts, red numbers, and white letters for the names. Kind of a New York Rangers look. A great logo, just a simple block USA logo in red, stars on the sleeve, and eventually gold around the neck. But these were fantastic, and especially when you get a look at the bench and you see them up close. There you go. I like these much better than the white jerseys that they beat the Soviet Union in.
You know, I like it too, because I like when the color pops in your face, and that's what these jerseys give the vibe. And you'll hear me mention in a moment a bomb pop. They look like a bomb pop as they were skating out there. And overall, you can get behind colors like that, because what do we associate Team USA with? It's really the blue at the end of the day. Yes, you get the red and white, but it's really that blue that stands out on every jersey, and you got that with these.
Herb Brooks never wore red, white, and blue during these Olympics, by the way.
He was very good about wearing plaid.
He was. But man, those were great-looking sweaters. And actually, there was a signed U.S. Hockey 1980 jersey by most of the players that I was at an event for a couple of weeks ago, sold for $8,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Worth it.
Yep,
honestly.
And it was the blue. It was the blue one that was signed.
If you had that type of money, I would have paid for it too.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it.
I don't have $8,000 to spend on one jersey.
Well,
maybe I do, but my wife would have my head if I spent that type of money. Okay, my number 1. And this is just my opinion, but I think USA soccer kits are the best around when it comes to jerseys, especially for Team USA. They're kits. They've consistently produced some of the most creative and memorable designs. I mentioned the bomb pop look that Team USA looked like there. They had that bomb pop look too back in like 2014. Then you had the 2018 World Cup kits that I really liked as well, where the design was really just here, but the jersey was white. But the one I want to focus on is the iconic one from 2012 and 2013. It was that Where's Waldo design worn by the U.S. men and women's national soccer teams those years. It stands out because it literally looks like the American flag. And, what I mean by that is it looks like they're wearing the stripes, the white and red stripes. It's the gold standard to me when it comes to soccer jerseys. I bet if you polled 100 soccer fans that they would say, majority of them at least would say that this was their favorite of all time. But the best and coolest thing about soccer is you could go all the way back to the 80s and say those jerseys were sick. And so as they kept evolving, U.S. got more unique and look, the horizontal bars, they're not vertical. A lot of teams went the vertical look. Team USA was one of the first to go horizontal, and that's what just makes them different all around. Plus, the success of the women's national team helped that a lot too.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Where does it say USA though?
I believe you see it. I think there's just a crest.
Okay.
But in general, that's kind of what you get with that
where's
soccer
Waldo?
look. How about the jerseys too? Do you remember the face? And I can't remember the player. He had blood dripping down his face here, but it was on the same side as that red stripe that went down. Like, again, Team USA just knocking it out of the ballpark when it comes to soccer jersey design.
That's the list. Coming up, we're going to build a parlay. We've got a little risky business for you coming up in the fight. All right, it's time for us to build a parlay, and I think you might realize by now, I've really gotten into the curling at the Olympics. I have no idea what's going on, but I love to watch it, and I love the stone, and I love the sweepers, and I love our Team USA. And our Team USA men taking on Italy, and we're a favorite here. We're on a 1.5 point favorite. I'm going to, and this is super conservative, because Italy's kind of at home. Well, they are at home. They're playing in Milan, right? But I'm going to go with USA on the money line here at minus 140 to knock off the Italians.
I love it. Yeah, you're right. The more I look at these lines, because I don't understand the sport hardly either, I don't know if 12.5 is a good over-under. Typically, I don't know really the outcomes. Tyler in my ear says it's not. And then it leads me to say, okay, how does a team win by 2? Like, why is that plus 100? So this is the curiosity of sports betting to me.
10 games, yeah. It's I think the USA women lost like 7-2.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good to know.
Yeah.
That's why I stick with hockey, guys.
Okay,
I don't know enough about curling. And I am going to go straight down to Germany, Slovakia. And guess who plays for Slovakia, everybody?
Who does?
Guess who is also having a huge Olympics so far,
Oh,
Randy?
Dalibor Dvorsky.
Yeah, that man. And so as you look at the game, Germany is the favorite. But I think Slovakia has a lot in the tank. They have a really nice roster. Give me Slovakia on the money line. Let's have another big game from Dalibor Dvorsky. And I really believe the Slovakians can get this thing done.
I have no idea why Dalibor Dvorsky is wearing 54 for the Blues and not 15. He's wearing 15 for his country, but he's wearing 54 for the Blues. But I like that pick.
Well, the Blues just don't like him enough. Slovakia does.
Yeah.
Let's put $100 on this like we always do.
Plus 242.
And that's a $242 payout. You'll get paid $342 actually because you get your 100 back. But that is pretty safe, if you ask me.
I think that's a pretty good bet. That's a good parlay, and that's some risky business here in the fight. Coming up, we've got Take It or Leave It, Story Time with Uncle Randy, and Today in Sports History. Stick around. Time now for Take It or Leave It. And Andrew, the Miami Dolphins released wide receiver Tyreek Hill on Monday. And on Instagram, he posted that the cheetah don't slow down, ever. So to everyone wondering what's next, just wait on it. The cheetah will be back. Take it or leave it, the cheetah, no, not Bill Belichick. The cheetah, who has played in 15 playoff games in his 10-year career, will play in another NFL playoff game.
Yeah, it's insane that he's only played in 15, given that he was on the Chiefs.
Yeah, 9 of those were Super Bowl runs.
15 playoff games, 10 years. How old is he now? Is he 31?
32.
32? Mm-hmm. I'll take it. I think he's going to end up on a team that just ends. He's going to put himself in position to be on a playoff team. I'm going to take it for that reason.
I am too.
It won't be for his play. It'll be for somebody else.
He feels like a Buffalo Bill to me.
And he would make a lot of sense there, too. Josh Allen would love to have him at any age.
I would think so,
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. He does still have a lot in the tank. He wasn't really set up for success when Tua was off the field.
That was a gruesome injury last year. It depends on how he comes back from that.
That's a big thing, too, right? And make sure that there's no instances like there were in Miami to keep him off the field.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
All right,
go to Buffalo.
All right. Mine for you, Randy, is this. So, K-State is attempting to avoid paying out recently fired basketball coach Jerome Tang after a post-game tirade following a 29-point loss to Cincinnati on Wednesday. K-State 10-15 this season. They sit in last place in the Big 12. Here's what Tang said. "This was embarrassing. These dudes do not deserve to wear this uniform. There will be very few of them in it next year. I'm embarrassed for the university. I'm embarrassed for our fans, our student section. It's just ridiculous." That's what he said. End quote. By firing for cause, the Wildcats can keep $18.7 million. They fired him for cause, so take it or leave it. Unlike Brian Kelly, this will actually hold up. They will stay fired for cause.
Zero chance. This didn't bring any disrepute to Kansas State University. This didn't cause any undue harm to Kansas State University. This was a coach that you hired to win, whose players weren't playing up to the standards that have been set for the university. And he said, yeah, we just aren't playing hard enough. And he said, we're going to go to practice and we're going to fix it tomorrow morning. And by the way, he started off his press conference by saying, like everything, I'll conduct this press conference in honor of Christ or something like that. So he did it from a religious perspective. No, there was absolutely no disrepute for Kansas State by Jerome Tang, and there's no chance of them being able to fire him for cause for this particular rant. Now, if there was something behind the scenes that we don't know about, that's different. But this particular incident is not cause for firing.
And I agree with you. I'm going to leave it as well. I don't know if he's going to get all $18.7 million. I'm sure that he's going to get close to that number, but K-State might save $1 million. They might get it for 17.
Now he needs.
Or
if they're going to try it, he might as well just go for it. Just like
I'm
Kelly,
sure he's already
like
lawyered up.
Yeah.
I'm sure of it. And you're right. He could have said 7 or 8 F-bombs in those sentences, and then you probably have a strong case, right? You might have a loose cannon there, but he didn't really say anything all that bad. All he said was, hey, guys, play with some respect. When you put on this uniform, make sure that you're putting it on for the right reasons.
And by the way, they didn't fire him after that rant.
No,
they let him
just
coach
attached
another
it.
game and lost another game.
Yeah, they just attached that tirade to it.
Yeah.
You're right. K-State.
So it couldn't have been that bad, right, if they didn't fire him right away?
Amazing, too, that they can just go back and be like, nope, this is the reason right here.
Yeah.
This is the reason why we fired you.
Amazing. All right, it's time now for Story Time with Uncle Randy. And we're going to spin for a year. We're going to spin for a sport. And then I will tell you what I remember about that.
All right.
And we're going to go
in the
1990s. 1990s. How about that?
A couple of those jerseys that we just shared.
Yeah,
too.
maybe. That'll be the story. We'll do a jersey story for you. Okay, we're going to do 1990s football.
Let's go.
All right.
Are you really going to do a jersey story?
No, I'm going to do something cool. I'm going to do something fun and exciting. So somebody that I was talking to over the weekend didn't realize this, but back in the day, in the 90s, Joe Montana ended his career as a member of the Kansas City Chiefs. He was, after suffering an injury as a member of the 49ers, Steve Young stole his job. And he wanted to keep playing. Had a bad back, had a bad arm, but he wanted to keep playing. So he requested a trade. He actually visited multiple teams. I think he visited the Cardinals, visited one other team, and then he visited the Chiefs. Marty Schottenheimer was with the Chiefs. He was their head coach. They were a quarterback away. So in 1993, Kansas City made the trade for Joe Montana, who had been to 4 Super Bowls and won 4 Super Bowls with the San Francisco 49ers. First year, takes Kansas City to the playoffs. Second year, 1994, actually plays against the LA Rams. Little anecdote for you. In the game against the Rams, last year in LA, DeMarco Farr grew up in Northern California, in Richmond, California, and loved the 49er teams. DeMarco sacks Joe Montana, and he's looking up from the ground as Montana's getting up, and he says, "Hey, you're Joe Montana," as if Montana didn't know it. But DeMarco was paying homage to a hero. Anyway, Montana goes to Kansas City. In the AFC Championship game, he suffers in the divisional round of the playoffs, suffers a concussion and winds up having his career end there. He never played again after that game in Kansas City. But did you know that Joe Montana, wearing number 19, by the way, because his famous number 16 had been retired for Len Dawson in Kansas City, Joe Montana wearing number 19 ended his career as a member of the Chiefs?
Nope, didn't know that at all. No, I would have thought San Francisco. Till I died.
Yeah, you would have thought, yeah, he only played for one team.
Because that's where he had all his success.
Yeah.
That's where people remember the moments.
Yep.
I think that, at least when it comes to history, that's why I'm so misguided, because everybody's journeys are so different. There are baseball players that play for random teams down the stretch. I'm like, what? How did you end your career there? It's like David Freese, right? If you go ask the general public, people would say David Freese ended as a Cardinal. Oh, he was a St. Louis kid, he ended as a Cardinal. But you're right, no, he ended in Pittsburgh because he bounced around.
Yeah. So there's your story about Joe Montana ending his career as a member of the Kansas City Chiefs. And by the way, if you ever just have time to kill, go to YouTube and check out the game between Joe Montana and John Elway, a Monday night game between Joe Montana and John Elway. Absolutely epic. It was fantastic. Elway with the Broncos, Chiefs go into Denver and just play a sensational game.
And you mentioned his bad back. How long has he had that?
About a week back.
Oh.
All right, time for this date in sports history. Back in 1987, Yankees first baseman Don Mattingly won his $1.975 million arbitration case, breaking the record. He got $1.975 million in 1987, and he broke the record for the largest amount ever awarded to a player. That was set by Jack Morris just 4 days earlier. Of course, this year, 2026, 39 years later, Tarek Skubal won his arbitration case against the Tigers and got $32 million. That's a 1,520% increase over what Mattingly got as the highest award ever back in 1987. By the way, that year, Mattingly set the record with 6 Grand Slams.
Wow, fun fact.
Yeah, 6 Grand Slams in 1 year.
And we call that inflation, people.
Yeah,
that is a number that Tarek Skubal deserves, too. It's not about, hey, $32 million, that's a crazy number. No, he deserves to get paid that this season, if not for like 5 seasons for what he's done over the last 2 years.
Times they are a-changing. How do you, and I had to do an internet thing, like a percentage increase calculator to get to 1,520%
good
more.
math on your part.
Yeah, well, good math by the
All
internet.
I would have said was, just multiply that by like 16 and you get to 32.
Yeah. Hey, don't forget, we have Cardinal Baseball here on Matrix Midwest starting next Monday at noon. We've got the spring training game against the Marlins, and we're going to have games on home Fridays during the regular season, 8 different spring training games. So a lot of great baseball coverage coming up. And we're going to be here every day on Matrix Midwest and the Matrix Midwest app at 5, 10, and then again at 7 the next morning. And if you want to participate in the fight, go to matrixmidwest.com, fill out the form, and you'll be able to participate against me.
I'm ready to see if you have a 2-week winning streak on your hands.
See if we can get that going. Hey, thanks for tuning in. For Andrew Rogers, for Tamar Scher, and our director, Tyler Klaus, I'm Randy Carricker, and we will see you next time right here in the fight. So long, everyone.